All right. Good evening and welcome to Health Second Opinion. We're going to be talking about measuring and maintaining your health. And I guess this is really inspired by the fact that I'm, turning or did turn 40 again and for like the ninth time. And so been on my mind to look at how I'm measuring and maintaining my health and what are my metric systems. And so I hope you're doing the same thing and you're thinking about and analyzing and setting up the ways that you are looking at this so that you can maintain your health because we're all going to get older, right? And hopefully we get that pleasure. But yet, what are we going to do to maintain where we were physically, emotionally, spiritually? So when we think about these things, I did a workout for my 48th birthday, and it's the same workout I've been doing since I was 40. And so what I did was time the mile, and then I give myself a couple minute rest, and then for the next sequences, it's all just a minute and a half rest in between 1 minute timed intervals of testing. So it's how many push-ups in a minute, pull-ups in a minute, sit-ups, burpees, then the jumping jacks, jump rope, how long I can hold the plank, things like this. And so it's this set thing. And so I was really happy this year to have stayed the same in everything except since 40. Except for my timed mile was slower. And so got to work on that. Obviously, haven't been doing as well there. And so that's the new focus. So that's, what I learned. Like, wow, man, you're 8 years older. You can still do everything as good as you could when you were 40. And some things even better. I can now do more pull-ups than I could when I was 40. But now I'm slower in the mile by 45 seconds. It was insane that I'd gotten lost that much. So obviously I haven't been taking enough runs. So that'll be added to this year's regimen. But when we think about health, it's not just your weight and your BMI and all these other things that I just mentioned. It's about a well-rounded approach to looking at the true maintenance of you, the living, breathing human being who is constantly, your body is trying to maintain homeostasis. And your body is trying to, and so the load that we put on ourselves, the allostatic load, the amount of a chronic stressor that comes upon us that our body has to mount a perpetual change to, we're dealing with that stress, then your body's ability to adapt to that and maintain homeostasis and perfect function is then typically measured in medicine by things like lipid levels, your inflammatory markers, your so your lipid levels, cholesterol, and triglycerides and all these things, then your inflammatory markers, your blood pressure, your all these things that we commonly think about are the measurements of allostatic load or how much stressful chronic response our bodies are having to adapt to. But then how else are we going to measure our body's adaptability? So I'm just thinking about starting out here with the 5 essentials and looking at ideas that you can do and maintain in habits to maintain your body's resilience and to be able to deal with chronic stress. And so thinking about our mindset, first of all, what's your health paradigm? Are you wait for everything to get destroyed and use a pill or a potion or a lotion or a supplement or whatever to treat that symptom? Or are you looking for the cause of the problems and then looking to correct those? Are you, what's your thought process on how you're going to maintain your health? Obviously, if you're listening, then you're interested in the paradigm of vitalism and empowering the body through your positive mindset to find the cause of your problems. And then by dealing with that cause of the problem, you fix it, you remove that interference to the body's expression of life, and you maintain health much easier. And so your mindset, that paradigm, the lens that you're looking through can be affected by so much. Your sleep habits. Are you getting that somewhere near 8 hours of sleep? And how much quality is it? Then, how often are you getting that? How many times a week do you meditate? How many days a week do you study the Bible, or do you do something that deals with your spiritual life? How connected are you to others of like mind? Do you have a tribe to which you meet with and literally, have fellowship? Or are you isolated in an island unto yourself? And that's negative on your mindset. It's one of the things I love about The Office is so many people sit around and stick around after their adjustments to talk to the other people that are in at their regular times, because they share this common thread of wanting to be healthy. So I think of I have a Wednesday morning men's Bible study that we do up on the mountain. And then how many times I go to church, whether it's with my mom or whether we're going someplace else. And then how many times do we take time to pray a day? How many times do you give thanks and focus on what we're grateful for? All just questions, all just things to set up your own metric system for measuring it, so that you can hold yourself to a standard and see, am I doing good? Am I doing bad? Where can I improve? And then reflect on, well, how am I feeling? How is my body functioning? And have this measurement to provide results. So the next thing to think about would be your nervous system, because if we're going to connect the brain to the body, then you have to have a healthy spine and nervous system. So are you doing your home care exercises? Are you being diligent with your schedule for your adjustments? And are you focused on whether or not you're on wellness care or on corrective care? So measuring those things, corrective care is home care exercises twice a day. Wellness care is once a day. And both of those are 7 days a week. And so that gives you a good measurement. And then, if you're typically on wellness care, you're once a week or twice a month. And then you should know your schedule if you're on corrective care, whether you're 4 days a week, 3, 2, 1, where you're at. And so that's another way of measuring and how close to perfect your spine and nervous system are. Then you can gauge whether you want to do more or less and re-engage yourself there. That's a way of literally measuring how well is my nervous system, my spine that surrounds and protects it, doing. And then what do I want to do about that now at my phase of life? Next, nutrition. Man, this one's so over the board. It's hilarious, right? We can measure it in 1,000 ways. And of course, lately I've had a lot of conversations with some patients that are interested in making improvements. And it ranges from how many Cokes a day is this person drinking, or how many fast food meals a day do they eat? How many drive-throughs, how many whatever, how much processed food are people eating? You can measure that if that's your issue. And, so think about how many salads a day do you eat? How many ounces of water a day do you drink? There's whatever your measurement system needs to be. Now, in Max Living, we use the Core Advanced Plan. And so hopefully you're already familiar with those and have the Align Your Health book or the different books that we've put out in the past, the nutrition manuals. And so think of the new advanced plan as your ability to reverse disease. So if you have diabetes, you have heart disease, you have Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, or you have just, any of the typical things like autoimmune disorders and things, then you get to be on the advanced plan, and it's outlined how to eat. It's typically that advanced plan is really known for being a grain-free, and then you're eating really just low glycemic index fruits and vegetables. And so That's fairly restrictive, but it is reversing the disease process. It is allowing your body, remember we're talking about allostatic load and how much your body has to change and adapt to the amount of stress that's coming in on it from a nutritional standpoint. Remembering that your body, it's not just about the building blocks of life, it's about the body's amount of toxicity and the things that are coming at it through that nutrition. Is it positive or negative? Speaking of that kind of thing, I failed to say that we are having a workshop on how to regenerate the microbiome. So it's going to be guts and glory. It's going to be how to replenish your microbiome. And we're learning and hearing so much about how important the microbiome is in our immunity and also in our HPA axis, our brain health. And so when we look at these things, this is when it is, 6:30 p.m., text guts to that number. And then we'll be in touch to see how many seats you need to save so that we know how many chairs to put out. So back to this idea of reversing disease. Also, is that your paradigm? Did you know that you can reverse disease? Or are you like so many people that think that disease just runs in my family? I'm going to have diabetes. If I'm on diabetic medications, I'm just going to get worse. And I'm going to need more metformin, then more insulin, then more this and that. Or my blood pressure is going to continue to go up and I just have to deal with it. That's just how it is. And you don't know that you can reverse it. Does your family know? Do your friends know? Does your church know? Does your workplace know? Reversible. So, and it depends on the things we're talking about right here, how you're maintaining your body and doing things. So the core plan is the everyday eating. Love it. And it does allow some grains. And so that's another metric system. Which plan are you on, or what are you changing to lead you to maintain or improve or understand why you're declining? So we've got to be measuring these things. I really think that that's a thing that we don't do enough of, is give ourselves the metrics and reflect and take enough time. So I'm going to give you a stat right quick. This is a fun one. Not really, but it's mentally engaging. It is that the average person, if you're in a nursing home facility, it costs $8,200 a month on average. More a little right at that average here in Georgia, a little more in Tennessee. Florida's at the highest in the country. And then, so we look at this tri-state area, Alabama, again, a little bit less, but on average, $8,200 a month. Now, people say, but my insurance will cover that. Wrong. Medicare only covers 100 days a year. 100 days a year. So that leaves you footing the bill. And I did the math, and we're going to have it at the Love Your Guts, and we're going to spell this out. And it's just going to be talking about these very things and the importance and how your microbiome really affects your health and can cut down the number of years that people, or get rid of it altogether. How about you don't think you're going to end up in a nursing home? Wouldn't that be cool? What if disease didn't run in your family? Those are the things that we want. We want that as a society, as I hand down this inheritance of the how to be healthy. And so, what about exercise? Well, first of all, apologize. I'm gonna have some water here. Water. I'll mention it again here in a minute. Water, clean, filtered, not out of plastic. Drink out of stainless steel or glass, and store it also as such. It's one of the reasons I love the water filter at the office. The reservoir is stainless steel, and it's got an ultraviolet light in it that keeps anything from growing overnight. And so it's great filtered water stored in stainless steel. So now, water in ounces a day. Take your body weight, so 198 pounds divided by 2. So I need 99 ounces of water minimum a day. Now, since I exercise outside in the parking lot or at the fields or somewhere, 5 days a week, then I have to, on those days, which is 5 days a week, I better be getting more because I'm sweating it out there in the 90-degree heat. Same goes for you. On the days that you sweat more, then you're going to need more water. Those are, again, ways to say, how hydrated am I? Realizing that hydration doesn't just affect your blood volume, it doesn't just affect your blood pressure, it doesn't just affect your immune system, it affects every single part of your body. Now, exercise is this concept that so many people think we could do with or do without. And let's make it a little more real in the fact that every cell in your body needs oxygen. The pump that delivers the blood, that carries the oxygen and the nutrition that every cell in your body needs, is the heart and the cardiovascular system. So the worse it gets, the more we create deficiencies and toxicities, because not one part is that the blood carries away a lot of the cellular waste material to then be filtered out, the things that we don't need through our kidneys, our liver, our spleen, all these things that filter our body and allow us to not be toxic. Sorry, I have a bug fly by. And as you can see, we're here at throwing stuff, and I've got a break in between clients, so decided to film this here while I had a minute. So when we think about exercise, it can be so many different types and times and tempos, but it's not an option. If you're not conditioning that pump and helping build healthy blood vessels, then you're not delivering that nutrition. And every single problem, every single chronic problem, and every single disease, and every disorder, name it, is made worse or originates from a deficiency or a toxicity of something. Now, weight is a big deal, because now you've got more body mass that has more blood vessels that have to supply blood, oxygen, and carry away those toxins from your body. So it's more of a cardiovascular load. And, if you've got so many miles of blood vessels, let's say 6,000, just give it a round number, miles of blood vessels going through your body, well then, and you gain 50 pounds, well now you might have 7,000 or 8,000. That's a lot more tubing that you got to pump through. So your heart better be in better condition, and that amount of mass that you gain should hopefully be 50 pounds of muscle. If you were going to gain weight, you would want it to be something beneficial, right? So exercise. I love the Max T3 system. It's able to do it in my parking lot, 12 to 15 minute workouts. Go to maxt3.com to have simple, low tech, highly efficient, high intensity interval training. Obviously, like I said earlier, I need to run more miles this year, because although I'm lighter than I was when I was 40, I was slower a mile. And so that's something I've got to deal with. If I want to maintain. And I do. It's important to me. And so it allowed me to illuminate the gaps in my health performance. So that's where I'm going to be adding it in. Whether it's walking 30 minutes a day, whether it's I need to start out with 2 workouts a week, 3 workouts a week. My goal is 5 workouts a week, blah, blah, blah. Set it up. Give yourself planning, or a failure to plan is a plan to fail. So we all want to live healthy, right? We all want to avoid the nursing home, but all these things that I'm talking about right now are the maintenance and the measurement of health. When was the last time you had blood work done? How are those typical allopathic measurements doing? And then are you going to treat them? Is your paradigm to treat them with medication that is basically like putting duct tape over a check engine light and driving your car and then wondering why it breaks down? Going, oh my gosh, I'm so surprised. I have whatever. And then, but I've been just taking drugs and covering it up and not doing a thing to maintain myself. And, just like so-and-so did. And that's why it runs in my family. It's not what I want to teach. It's not what I want to hand down. It's not what the community deserves. We deserve the best. And so how does all of this affect your toxicity? Last essential that I want to spend a couple minutes on here is, well, greatly. If you're not minimally just eating off the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 from EWG.org, instead, you could be doing it even better. You could be eating 100% organic and grass-fed or free range, or all of these things that denote how well and how naturally the animals were raised. And it's that simple. How natural, how healthy of an animal are you, or animal products and food are you consuming? Or are you eating sick things that give you sick nutrients that then make a sick you? Are they toxic? Because if you are eating these toxic foods, then they're going to make you more toxic. If you're eating very clean, that's a reduction in that allostatic load that allows your body to reach homeostasis with less effort, which then allows you to use more of your energy to build and regenerate tissue. How often do you sweat profusely? If you don't sweat profusely every day, you're minimizing the third biggest detoxifier, which is the human skin. Our body is just constantly able to flush toxins out through sweat. So if you don't sweat, you're putting a burden on your liver, your kidneys, and it's going to cause you to have to adapt more. And it's going to cause more stress, chronic stress on the body. And so, again, that's a great way to measure it. How much products at home are you putting things on your body? That's another thing. I love EWG.org's their apps that have healthy living and food scores, and you can look up your products right there and see how toxic, how cancerous, how allergenic they are, and you can use those to figure it out. Or you can use, things like Beauty Counter, which is just a company that produces all the stuff to the highest standard. And then, just wipe that off your mental figuring it out plate, which is what we did to minimize our mental stress, to improve our mindset, is just to have that level of comfort, knowing that what we're putting on our tiny little 2-year-old beautiful little girl is safe and it's going to work, but it's safe. And it's non-toxic, and it just, there you go, we're done. So, or how's your, are you using water filters at home for your tap water? Do you have shower filters? Do you have, are you using dryer sheets or toxic laundry soaps and things like that? Looking at all those things, and just incremental change is what I believe to be the best, because it allows for you to adapt physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, slowly to the things that you want. Whereas a lot of people they do it all at 100%. That's typically not the change method that I use, because it often has, these quick, massive changes often have quick, massive rebounds. Just like if you totally remove, it's great, I love it if you try it and you remove, like a patient of mine that I was talking about, he was talking about Cokes, and he's like, man, you don't even want to know how many I drink. And I was like, more than a 6-pack? And he's like, oh yeah, like, wait, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'll quit asking. And he said, he's like, I can't quit. And he said, last time I just did it raw, I quit and I ended up in the ER. He said, I thought I was freaking having a heart attack, man. And I was like, yeah, let's definitely not do that. So try to go to a 6-pack, and then we'll do that for a week or so, and then let's try to get it down to 1. and see what happens and keep you out of the ER, but definitely making progress, So these are all just thoughts and ways that you can learn and think about measuring your health and giving it a metric, something that you can reflect on, write down, see how you did. And then it's not about, the mindset also says, don't beat yourself up. It's not about more emotional stress. It's an evaluation that then allows for change. So it's not about more stress. Don't make it that way. So text in this to text GUTS to 706-657-4777 to sign up for the September 12th, 6:30 p.m. GUT workshop if you want to learn how to regenerate, renew the microbiome, or you're having issues and we need to sweep it out and then go through that process so that you can have the healthiest you, to have the best quality and quantity of life, and then go out and use your gifting to make the world a better place. I sure hope that's the intention. That's the intention behind this show and chiropractic care here in Dane County. So love and respect. Have a wonderful weekend.